Smith. And not everybody is as happy as Will Smith. So if he sees life about birds and bees and wants to rap about flowers, then let him rap about birds and bees and flowers.
I don't use no profanity in none of my records, and still I managed to get up here.
When Will Smith thought he could diss Eminem for being unapologetically angry and anti-establishment, he didn't realize the bear he was really poking.
Smith don't got a cuss in his raps to sell records. Well, I do, so fuck and fuck too.
This is by Eminem, but didn't bother him. Yup, but he classy. I'm a nice guy, why y'all harassing me?
But the collapse of Will Smith's masculinity in recent years can be traced back to the simp he had become for the industry's corporate overlords 30 years ago. Subscribe to Elites Exposed for more, and just take a look for yourself.
A lot of things that I say are not meant to be disses. It's meant to be me speaking my mind. If I want to diss somebody, then I'll diss them. I'll just come out and say, Will Smith. And he dissed the whole genre of rap. He dissed gangster rap music. I respect him for saying his opinion, but not everybody is as happy as Will Smith. So if he sees life, about birds and bees and wants to rap about flowers, then let him rap about birds and bees and flowers. But don't diss nobody else. And I felt like he was taking a stab at me and Dre and anybody who uses profanity on a record to express themselves. If you feel strong enough about something, then you might put a little before you say exactly what you're saying.
Keep my wife's name out your mouth!
Are you worried about encountering face-to-face, like, I don't know, Will Smith, Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, NSYNC? What would you say to them if you ran into them?
I'm actually looking forward to it.
And M's being charitable here, because who does Will Smith even think he is? Remember back in the 90s, Will was the quintessential nice guy in Hollywood, trying to elbow his way into a genre of music that was anything but nice. It was a world dominated by Tupac, Biggie, Ice Cube, and then Eminem, all of whom wielded rap as their masculine battle cry against the political and industry establishments of their time. And then along came this sanitized and corporate-approved Fresh Prince trying to guilt the entire genre into being as bubbly and colorful as him, while neutering rap and hip-hop of what made it so potent to begin with.
What's going to happen now if people start being really nice to you, and if you start getting like really rich, really, really happy, and you've no, barking dogs to talk about?
Then I'll probably rap like Will Smith.
The hip-hop songs that really irritate me right now is the happy bubblegum type hip-hop. What's that Will Smith last record?
I'm about to freak this. What you want me to freak this?
Not just that, rap was the megaphone to scream into for a lot of the biggest names at the time, and that catharsis is what kept them sane and alive to be able to tell the stories of their troubled lives on the streets. Because when rappers bring that depth and pain to their music, that's what makes it speak so much to the man on the street. And I'm sure nobody asked for a smiley face on a moral cushion talking down to them about profanity in rap music.
And the winner is Will Smith.
First, I want to say that Jada made me wear this jacket. I want to thank my wife. Baby, life gets real difficult sometimes. You're always right there. My wife is always right there to support me and love me and rub me and say, baby, it's gonna be all right. And the next time, don't worry, you get them next time. Baby, I love you, and I dedicate this award to my wife and for all of her support and dedication to me. I just want to say, Columbia Records, I want to say to all my fans out there, I never killed nobody in none of my records. I don't use no profanity in none of my records, and still I managed to get up here. Peace.
Yeah, I use a lot of profanity.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but don't you feel like Will Smith has lived in the shadow of someone else his entire life? I'm talking about Tupac Shakur. Not just because Will Smith has been under the constant mental insecurity of his wife's past relationships with Tupac, but also because Will almost wanted to take the place of Tupac Shakur in the world of rap after he died in 1996. And if that's true, dissing a chart topper like Eminem could be an attempt to slingshot himself into the hip-hop spotlight.
Smith don't got a cuss in his raps to sell records. Well, I do, so fuck him and fuck you too. too.
Dissed by Eminem, but didn't bother him. Yup, but he classy. I'm a nice guy, why y'all harassing me?
And you can imagine how much this goofy new character in rap must have irked Eminem back then, when rap and hip-hop were the only solitude away from the world of corny pop music at the time with zero meaning or substance.
I just think the whole pop world is corny. I just think that it's sissy music, and it's just so watered down, man. It's like, you know, how many times can you rhyme tearing me apart, breaking my heart, love sent from up above. It's ridiculous, it's repetitive, and it gets on my nerves. Every song sounds the same to me. I feel like I don't need therapy. I feel like my music is my therapy, because once I sit down and write, I get everything off my chest. You know, people might think that I walk around mad all day, and I'm not. You know what I'm saying? For the most part, I'm happy, you know. I get all my aggression out in the studio. When I leave the studio, I'm like...
And frankly, with Will Smith versus Eminem, I see more of a clash of masculine archetypes than just some old rap beef. The truth is, Will Smith was merely performing a version of masculinity, a studio-approved, TV-friendly, and neutered version of masculinity that could only serve to distract the masses on behalf of the establishment, but never challenge the establishment itself. Eminem, though, was the complete opposite, a man that used chaos and profanity to be unapologetically masculine, and therefore very problematic to the system. And like a trout fish, the harder that the record labels tried to squeeze Eminem, the farther away he slipped out of their hands. And for at least a decade, embodying this version of masculinity meant no one could really dare take on the firebrand that was Eminem.
Now, there's a lot of beefs. You got a lot of beefs. A lot of the rappers are separated. You can't have 50, ain't nowhere near Ja Rule. You know, you can't have Jazzy near Nas. Nobody got no beef with Eminem. Ain't no rapper popping nothing about Eminem. Ain't nobody saying nothing. I'm not even gonna say nothing bad about Eminem, cause way too much stuff rhymes with rock, alright? But Eminem don't even like his own mama. So Lord knows what he'll say about your black ass, okay?
Now look at it this way. There's a cost to swimming against the tide that rappers like Eminem, Tupac, and Ice Cube knew very well. They knew they'd be isolated by the record labels, vilified in the media, and would have to make it big outside of the system if they wanted to survive. And in some sense, I feel like there must be a kind of masculine self-respect in that, which helps carry you through that struggle in the start of your career. It's when you can look in the mirror and respect the man looking back at you. Rappers like Will Smith couldn't do that, and I'm sure in some lonely moment of the night, it ate them from the inside. I think that's exactly why Will Smith had actually realized quite early how much more potent Eminem was as a rapper, because DJ Jazzy once actually revealed what Will Smith said when he first met Eminem at a recording studio.
And I reached out to him. He came to Philly to do a show, came to the studio, made the beat. He wrote it, we recorded it. It was funny because Will actually was in town that day and came through the studio. And I played the record for Will, and Will looked at Eminem and said, "You're gonna be the biggest flop in the world, or you're gonna be the biggest thing that hip hop has ever seen."
I think that's when Will Smith decided to put on an image and play the contrarian to Eminem. And in that attempt to become the nicest guy in rap, he just became cornier and cringier every passing year.
I pulled the pin out the grenade on purpose when I threw it. And even though I'm an action star, sometimes I'ma act bizarre. I'll change your life if you let me, girls. I like pretty girl.
Plus, I've spoken out before about how the absolute collapse of Will Smith's life and career we're seeing right now was a consequence of suppressing his rebellious masculine spirit for decades. And that's true all the way from when he wanted the corporate labels to back him in the world of rap, to when he sought the love and approval of his wife Jada, who he knew would never get over Tupac. It's only so long before that bottled-up masculine guilt explodes, like what we saw on the Oscars stage. But if you're ready to go down a much darker rabbit hole, watch my breakdown of Ice Cube's bombshell allegations about rap culture and subscribe to Elites Exposed for more.